Hey guys, and welcome back to Seduce Me. We are on Erik's route. And again, it is late at night. So I have to be a little bit quiet. So, let's continue. That was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Shut up, Erik. I mean, oh my god. Shut up, Sam.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
Thank you, my little cinnamon roll, Matthew.
She handled herself the best she could.
Damien.
As expected, princess.
Thanks.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Sounds good to me.
Ugh.
Sam.
Hush, Sam.
Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
And our first experience with the language. I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dream echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Ugh, you can't hear anything. All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughed up clothes, and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. That looks like a guy with a really bad sunburn and white hair. That doesn't look like a monster to me. That kind of looks like Andrew, though. But probably not. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dry blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned male was a similar-looking woman with matching thug-like clothes.
Oh, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet ran through Sam's face, but...
What the fuck?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Lucky for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple times before sliding further away, hitting the wall with a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into a black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Alex.
Malix. That was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by... magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
What's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Fuck off. Malix suddenly laughed wildly, staring at me in disbelief.
Whoa! Who let the bitch out of her cage? What is this? A reverse harem or something?
If by bitch you mean bad bitch, yes, I will F you up, man. Malix began to be evilly walking close to me. Oh, I ducked underneath Alex's incoming hand. I don't want him to grab my hair again. I stared at his hand and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple steps back from Alex. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Alex with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
Back off, Malix!
Yeah, back off. I got like... Is there 5? Wait a second. Sam, James, Eric, Damien, Matthew. I got 6 men here to protect me.
Don't start acting tough with an excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up. Matthew is bae.
Shut up!
Yeah.
Oh, did I make little Matthew cry? Why don't you just grow a pair?
How about you?
Enough, Malix.
The woman, who had been standing in silence the whole time, planted a firm hand on Malix's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead, just like you two. But now's not the time.
Fuck off! I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Wait, 5? Hold up. Eric, James, Sam, Matthew, Damien. There is 5. I was right the first time. Why did I say 6? Am I thinking of someone else? Wait. I'm confused. Okay, whatever.
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
The two growled at each other. If they could use their magic, I could sense that fire would grow from underneath their teeth. Miles grunted and glared at the boys as he pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Okay. Then Malix turned to me, moving his fingers to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
Okay. With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
Good job, guys.
Should have stopped and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference.
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know. It's hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Really? Because you kissed me.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
Damon has silence. I couldn't believe my ears. It was the third day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
You better.
Until
Oh no!
we'll do as much as we can. If Alex comes back, we'll be here for you.
I skipped something, but basically Sam said, I'll kick his ass, so... But what about going outside? Won't he...
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Yeah, but you see, he has a gun. A gun can kill a human, you know.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix except for the gun. But I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous, despite the words of the incubi. I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did all of this even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? Yes. They're only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. Okay, so someone explained to me that Kay is a waitress at the Pink Lady Cafe. If I had gone with Naomi and Suzu that day, I would have met Kay. The question was then, would I want them to leave? No. If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever.
Naomi? Question mark?
You're so important to me.
That, again, sounds like Naomi.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
James!
Please, let me love you.
Erik.
I'll be by your side, always.
That's Sam.
I can't imagine living without you.
Matthew?
I want to be with you.
Damien.
I love you.
I have no clue. I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so early? That would never happen in real life. I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. That's me. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. See, there's no fire, but in Sam's room at the end, there is a fire. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? Nothing. Lay there, stare at the ceiling. Let's make some coffee. I think I explored the house last time. I decided making coffee was my best bet to surviving the rest of the day. Why not? I haven't had coffee in forever. Alright guys, one thing you should know about me. I don't actually like coffee. I like Starbucks. I get like one of those refresher things. I don't drink coffee. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen. Unconcerned that I was in pajama pants and a tank top, I rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press? Well, that's better than nothing. I don't know what that means. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email and text on my phone. No new important emails, no text messages. True. I sighed, quickly made my coffee just how I liked it, sat on the counter. But then I began to wonder, would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind for a whole morning. I did not think once about the boys or Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday, and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes. Go back to sleep. Shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. Looked at my phone and checked the time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed in arm clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle, with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each one almost masterfully. Hey! I love their faces, their surprised faces. It's funny. All at once, the boys looked at me, frozen in their movements. I just stood in the doorway staring at them after my outburst. James was the first one to break away from the group, stepping towards me.
Good morning. We apologize if we woke you up.
No, it's fine. I've been awake for a while now. I'm sorry I interrupted.
It's quite all right. We needed to stop anyway. We don't want to overwork Sam.
Pretty sure he could take it.
Oh, come on, I can handle more than those pity punches.
Your mind seems grateful that we've stopped.
Shut up, Damien.
Oh, crap. We should probably make some lunch. I'm sure you're starving.
I can handle lunch if you'd like. You all seem very busy training to beat Malix. I can take care of it today.
Whoa, seriously?
You seem way too excited about that, Sam. Yeah, why not? I'm not useless. I know how to cook and do other stuff too.
Well, no, I wasn't insinuating.
What he means to say is that we'd be really grateful if you could make lunch today.
Heh, no problem. As I turned to the kitchen, the boys went back to training. They seemed very determined to get better and become stronger. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make... Okay, last time, pretty sure I made pizza. Yeah, I think I made pizza. So this time, let's make sandwiches. Because why not? I assembled simple ham sandwiches for all of us. We're changing that to turkey. Because I just, I liked ham, but when I was little, I ate ham so much that I kind of hate it now. So, whatever. Ham's still good. After I poured some potato chips on the side of each sandwich, the best side to any sandwich, I felt satisfied. Who said lunch had to be cooked? True. I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room to eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. Find one of them! Quickly rushed back so I could grab a second food just before hunting down one of the boys. Turned to the backyard, hoping to find an incubus still there. Luckily, my gut feeling was right. Erik was beside the gazebo, looking at a small flower that was growing on the railing of it. As I approached, Erik turned his head and smiled his usual smile.
Hello, Princess.
Hey, Erik, I got some lunch for you.
Really? You did not have to do that, Princess.
I did it anyway. No, it's fine. Here. Eric smiled, took his food, eating a little bit before looking at the flower again. Out of curiosity, I looked as well. It was a simple white daisy in full bloom. Eric shook his head and chuckled softly as I joined him in flower gazing.
Sorry, I was simply reminded of home.
Huh? Oh, no, you're fine. What about home were you reminded of? Eric looked to the sky with a soft sigh and smiled before looking back to the flower again.
The castle, mainly. Despite us not being there anymore, it was still our home. We grew up there our entire lives as brothers. There wasn't a day that went by when we weren't all doing something exciting. It was an empty excitement, of course, but it was still something that bonded us all together.
Eric slightly trailed off, looking lost in the nostalgia of his thoughts. I didn't know if I wanted to bother him while he remembered something so obviously important to him. Alright, we're back. I'm sorry. Please tell me more? Eric turned again to watch me with a slightly surprised look.
You wish to know more?
That's why I asked. Why not? I'm really curious about the place you lived in. Eric nodded before looking at the flower again. After a second, he gained a look of realization before looking to me again.
Would you like me to show you something instead?
Show me something. Show me what? I tilted my head in confusion but nodded nonetheless. What I was expecting could not have prepared me for what I saw. Eric gently brushed his fingers against the petal of the daisy, making it gently quake in his touch. As the daisy abnormally shivered, its petals shifted from white to purple. The yellow center gently faded to a pink hue as the stem began to burn black. I could only stare as Eric plucked the flower from its place and presented it to me.
Watch closely.
Okay. I kept my eyes to the flower as Eric began to mutter something. It sounded close to Latin, but I wasn't sure. Regardless, the flower began to glow in Eric's hand. Small crystal-like spores floated up from the pink center and began to form a circle in the air. As the circle closed, the center filled with smoke, forming a screen of some sort. It was misty, so I couldn't see anything. What is this?
Just watch.
Okay. I raised an eyebrow, but I followed his instruction. Eventually, the mist faded away, revealing a large throne room. It was all of stone and tile, with the throne itself covered in red fabric and gold metal. Despite it being a mere image in a magic mirror, I felt small looking at the sight of the throne room. Wow, that looks amazing.
That's our castle. It's a wonderful place. Servants and parties galore.
Does your father sit on the throne when he's at the parties?
Very much so. He despises dancing and socializing, so he makes the throne his home.
Do you think he's still there now? I must have struck a small chord with Eric, because he hesitated before responding. Eric smiled only slightly.
We don't know. When we left, we didn't look back. However, we are sure he's still there, since no one followed us out of the abyssal plains.
I bit my lip. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. I felt really bad. However, I didn't feel it for long. The magic suddenly stopped and faded away while Eric dropped the daisy. The daisy turned back to its white and yellow color. Eric dropped to a knee, groaning in pain. Eric, are you alright?
Yes, Princess. I'm fine. I just used too much energy, that's all.
I dropped to a knee to try and examine Eric closer. His face was pale while his purplish eyes shifted back and forth between purple and gold. His breath was heavy, which concerned me. He used too much energy? That meant he needed more.
Please don't worry, Princess. I'm fine. Don't worry your beautiful head about it.
Kiss him! I felt responsible. I had to help. I quickly grabbed Eric's face and tilted his head to angle with mine. Shifting myself closer, I brought my lips to his and kissed him deeply. I didn't know if this would help, but this is how he got energy before. I shut my eyes, waiting for the draining feeling to reappear in my body. However, Alec grabbed my shoulders and forced me back. I opened my eyes and stared into his frightened gold eyes in surprise. At the same time, I noticed a pink hue run across Eric's face.
Princess? What are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? I don't know why. I felt both irritated and accomplished at the question and the look he was giving me. Where was his flirting? Where was his cocky smirk? From what I remembered, he took advantage of me when we met, yet now he was somehow acting inferior to me? I grabbed his hands and removed them from my shoulders, tickling my fingers with his. I'm trying to help and give you some of my energy, so accept it, boy. You used your energy to show me that sight, so I want to pay you back for that, unless you don't want me to help.
Well, I've already taken your energy once before.
That was before. I want to give you energy now. Just let me. All of a sudden I felt a familiar feeling of warmth run through my body once again. I felt my body slightly heat up as Erik quickly released my hands and wrapped them around my waist, dropping to both knees in front of me. He stared at me with desire in his gaze as he pulled my body to his. Erik leaned his forehead head to mine, letting the tips of our noses gently caress each other as he spoke.
You spoiled me.
Oh my god! Ugh. Erik, why are you so beautiful? Okay. Before I knew it, I was on top, but it says before I knew it, I was on top of Erik as he laid on the grass below, but this seems like it's the other way around. Alright, I stared wide-eyed as he pulled me into a hot and passionate kiss with a gentle hand on the back of my head. Erik's other hand had landed on the small of my back while I rested my hands on his chest. I moved myself to straddle his hips to be more comfortable in the kiss, but he's on top of me in the picture. The energy from my body slowly draining, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and willing I was in this situation. Still, I had no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. Okay, here we go. While Erik held me, he gently rolled both of us over so he was on top of me, kissing me hotly and holding me tightly. I was tempted to wrap my legs around him, but remained focused on the kiss. Good girl, don't even. It was better than I was on the bottom anyway, with my energy slowly fading from my body. However, the draining feeling suddenly stopped as Erik pulled away and looked down at me. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I'd never kissed like that before, and I was so lost in the moment that I'd forgotten how to breathe. Oh my god. Erik, however, didn't move from me, but moved a strand of hair from my face, eyes still full of desire.
I'm completely full, and yet I still desire you.
I desire you too, but it's too early. We can't do this. I could still feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me I wanted more, but at the same time I wasn't sure if I truly didn't want to give any more. Keep going. Oh my god. I opened the opportunity and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was going to let him keep going. I wanted to keep going. I reached up, pulled him down, and kissed him, giving him silent approval to keep going. I felt him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and following his hand off from around my neck. He moved the ribbon to the ground beside me before unbuttoning the top buttons of my blouse, stopping at the buttons above my stomach. Oh! That's different than Sam's route. Okay. The desire in my body drove me insane, forcing a moan to escape my lips as he ran kisses from my lips to my neck. Okay. Very thirsty. Alright. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna get a drink. Hold up. Getting a drink. Just getting a drink. I'm fine. I'm just taking my time, enjoying this story, just normal stuff. Okay. As we began to ravish my neck and shoulder in hot kisses, I leaned my head back against the grass and let a pleasurable sigh escape my lips. Erik was ruthless in his passionate kisses on my skin. I'm so immature, I'm so sorry. Erik didn't stop touching and kissing me, making more moans and gasps rush out of my mouth into the open air. He was full, but he was as hot as I was. Read it with more dramatic intent. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was so lost in pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything at that moment, even as he lowered his kiss down to my chest just above my bra. Girl, slow it. Slow it down now. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about Erik intrigued me immensely, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate to be lust. What was it? Perhaps I felt dizzy. Perhaps. Did I? No. However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the sky start to spin almost wildly. I gripped onto Erik's shoulder, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sound. I felt good. I didn't care that I was blacked out. Damn, girl. I felt warm and fuzzy in the darkness. I never knew indulging in that kind of passion would be that good. I now just wanted to awaken, hopefully in a good way. My eyes got distracted. My eyes eventually fluttered open, adjusting to the sight around me. I felt familiar silk underneath me, letting me know I was in my bed. I slowly sat up, stretching from the tiredness that still lingered. I felt a very soft pain on my neck and shoulders, and I could feel my swollen lips pulse gently in healing. However, when I looked down my body, I saw my shirt had been pulled back up and rebuttoned as if nothing happened between me and Erik. I was just missing my ribbon. Before I got out of bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow beside me. It was tied in a nice bow around the daisy Erik had picked, with a small note attached to it. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
You've spoiled me, my princess. I am eternally grateful that you let me indulge like that. Have a good rest.
I stared at the note, letting a small smile grace my lips. Spoiled him? I enjoyed it despite the first time circumstance. It was cute, though, to imagine him thanking me for something we both did and enjoyed. I brought the daisy to my nose and gently inhaled its soft fragrance, letting the memories of our meeting flood my mind. I indulged myself too, Erik. I looked at the time out of curiosity. The large white numbers on my phone showed 5:31 p.m. Yikes, 4 hours of being knocked out and I still feel tired. It was Sunday, so I was allowed to sleep longer if I wanted to. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other and were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I've had. I felt good. Okay, I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Don't knock on wood, girl. Don't say that before you know. Karma owed me some luck. Oh well. After all, I had gone through merely a handful of days. I deserved to get some good luck. You're not gonna get any. Not yet. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. Check the time. 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. Packed my bag and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon set on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him, meaning Erik? I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating it. The food was so delicious I devoured every amazing bite. I had to look at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still had to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned around to see Erik, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Erik, miss. I want you to know my real name if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Erik gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Uzeris.
I'm Uzeris. Uzeris? Uzeris? Something like that. Uzeris. As he said his name, I felt it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. That's not true. I would not be able to pronounce that. I'll stick with Erik, thanks. Erik pulled away and smiled at me despite carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
Can I call it now? I stared up at Erik, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Erik smiled before kissing my hand and heading to the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. Yeah, in like a few hours. Right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and headed to school, talking about the homework in the coming day. We made it to the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the other side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Whoa! Ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lizette and her gaggle of girls. Lizette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Little Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lizette. Today was not the only time this has happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lizette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Oh, I would totally hurt someone, but I don't want to deal with any extra blah. So stand up and walk away. Always, guys, when there's a bully, always be the bigger person. Always. Don't let anyone make you feel unfair. Just get up, hold your head high, and walk away. No. I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. She was a bully, and I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay? That was a pretty bad fall.
Yeah, I'm fine. A fall like that is nothing. I merely smiled at them, not wanting to let them know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing, but I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered my belongings and nodded to my two friends. Come on, we'll be late for history. Sister and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers. That's gross, Suzu. It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best. Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Oh! Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Oh! Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned ahead to the group, glaring daggers at them.
Fuck did you just say?
I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she would try to push my hand away. Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, it's about time we taught them some manners. Suzu.
I looked at Lizette and her group. Lizette had a widely amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere. Let's go. I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, and Naomi held on to her other shoulder. We held on to Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Surprisingly, the rest of the school went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home, to see my boy. As the bell rang for school, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? A text? From Dad? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. It's not your dad! I quickly headed to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we got you covered from now on.
Yeah, alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Have I done something wrong? I didn't know. Sorry, taking a drink. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, it is 2 in the morning. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Susan before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the entire time to listen to my music while I waited. Totally me. I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number, but I pressed call. It disconnected, but a signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error? How do I not have a signal? I double checked my phone and saw I had all 5 bars for signal. Huh. He must be in a dead zone. Before I could speak, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed to the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Melix's prey.
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed like the interior of a bus or van. The door was closed and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness and I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my limbs to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears. First of the interior of a car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you.
Malix walked over and set the barrel of his gun against the skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
I don't think so. Erik's name! However I pronounced that, I totally forgot. Uzaris? Something like that. All of a sudden, a bright purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me to cover themselves.
What the?
Gusts of wind rushed past me, almost forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself and standing my ground. I tried to peek through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. The gust slowly started to die. The light began to fade, revealing Erik. Erik.
Did you miss me?
Yes, I did, bae. However, the seductive smile that graced his lips quickly disappeared as he turned to Malix. Malix lowered his arms. Erik glared.
You really are evil at its core. Kidnapping an innocent woman like you did. It's disgusting how we demons are confused for your kind.
Look at this little manhole Erik here, boys. Might as well sleep with a disease.
Ah! The devils around him laughed, including Eris. I felt a twinge of anger. More than a twinge, sweetie, but Erik must have taken it from me and added it to his own. Erik flicked his wrist and arm across his body, producing a small whipping noise through the air. However, Malix hissed and reached for his cheek as if the air had slapped him hard. Ooh, yeah! What the... When Malix removed his hand from his cheeks, I stared wide-eyed at the large slash that revealed on it. A mixture of red and black blood gently dripped from the wound, causing Malix to growl out angrily at Erik.
So, pretty boy thinks he has balls, huh? Time to make this pretty boy a dead bitch.
All of a sudden, Malix lifted his gun towards Erik and pulled the trigger. I gasped and tensed up, not believing what I was seeing. As I braced myself for Malix's bullet to embed itself into Erik, however, a large tendril, is he Slender Man? A tendril shot up from in front of Erik's body, sprouting from the ground by his feet. Quickly after the bullet evaporated into the tendril, several others appeared, forming a dark crown around Erik's body. What?
What is that?
Oh my...
Did you expect me to come unprepared the second time around? Thanks to my lovely princess, I can now use the full extent of my powers. Unfortunately for you, that means I'm afraid you will lose this fight.
Holy shit, he is badass.
You cocky little shit!
Alex charged up his energy and began to fire bullet after bullet at Erik in anger. However, the tendrils danced across Erik's body with ease, blocking each one as if they were mere pebbles to a wall. The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do. Help Malix, or watch in silence. Eris, however, walked up beside me, crossed her arms, and watched with the amused smirk on her face.
Die already!
Erik chuckled before snapping his fingers, causing a row of tendrils to appear behind him, pointing their sharp ends at Malix, who continued to fire bullets at the incubus. The tendrils uprooted themselves and floated into the air, straightening into large spikes, before quickly splintering into multiple thinner spikes. I could only stare, completely lost and intrigued at the sight as Erik whipped his hand across his body again. At Erik's command, the spikes flew at Malix, slashing and stabbing into his body. They were thin, barely making pencil-sized wounds, and only a few went into his body. The others scraped and scratched at his skin as they flew by. This didn't kill Malix, however. Malix growled lowly before charging at Erik, causing the incubus to step back in slight shock. Malix pointed his gun at Erik, closing the distance between them, and fired the barrel almost reached Erik's face. Instead of the bullet ripping into Erik, a large explosion forced both away from each other. Malix bounced off the far wall and landed on his knees, groaning in pain. Erik, however, slid across the ground, landing on his stomach. Erik! Malix slowly planted a foot in the ground to stand, but froze before doing so, staring at Erik's body. Erik, on the other hand, slowly rose and turned to face Malix head-on. Erik reached a hand up and wiped a small stain of blood that had pitted the side of his lip before growling almost animalistically. At that moment, something in the air changed. The air instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described in tone as the color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and red, as everything began to blend together all at once.
How persistent. I guess I'll have to go all out on you to finally rid the world of you.
Woo, you got the angry voice. Was this extended doom power? Sweetie, not even close. My eyes never strayed from Erik's face, however, even as it changed. His eyes began to glow a bright golden color as Erik began to walk towards Malix.
Let's end this.
Malix aimed his gun and fired at Erik, but the bullet never made its target. As the shot erupted from the barrel, the tendrils erupted from Erik's back, creating a wing-like barrier from the bullet. Malik stared wide-eyed at Erik's tendril absorbed the bullet, grew almost larger in size and in number with each step Erik took. Erik's skin slowly began to morph and shift, changing from human to something else entirely. Something about Erik grew dark and menacing, and this transformation was making him even darker. Before I was allowed to see Erik's new form, however, a pair of eyes quickly covered mine. Instinctively, I tried to reach up and grip them, trying to pull them off. A voice stopped me.
It's me. Don't look.
Hi, Damien. I listened carefully and let the two words linger in my mind. Don't look. Why? What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me not to obey. No, to obey Damien's command.